we've got quite possibly the most important election of our lives here in Michigan ahead of us. All that we believe in, all that we hold dear is on the line. I don't have to tell you that. Now, I'll be honest with you, it's a little bit crazy because, you know, I never intended to run for office. So the fact that the president and the vice president decided to make me the main character of these midterms is a little bit odd to have to metabolize. Yeah. But I also want to explain why they are so worried and why it's so important for us to win. I was not supposed to run for office, but I was definitely not supposed to win this primary. You're not supposed to be able to beat $70 million of outside spending. You're not supposed to be able to talk about getting money out of politics and beat the big money. You're not supposed to be able to go anywhere and everywhere across the state championing union rights and Medicare for all and win in a competitive primary statewide in a state like Michigan. They tell us we're too purple. Except for I've never seen any be purple. And if they are, you should probably give them a Heimlich maneuver because they're choking. There is not red or blue, there is not purple. There's not even progressive or liberal. There are people who are struggling with basic things. And the whole reason I ran for office is because I believe that public service is about trying to address those challenges. Trying to take on the money in politics that keeps rigging our system to raise the price of everything from groceries to gas to rent to a mortgage, and trying to keep you from seeing a doctor if you need one. That's what's at stake in this election. And I'm up against a guy who is truly the exact opposite of all of that. We want to get money out of politics. He's never seen a corporate dollar he didn't want to bring into politics. We want to put money in your pocket, and he is using his positionality to figure out how to empower those same corporations to fleece your pocket. We want Medicare for all, and if he had his way, he'd have Medicare for none. But there are two issues I want to bring up and I want to highlight because they're so critical right now. Who here knows a Canadian? Canadians are the only people I know who will preemptively apologize for something they never did. I'm sorry. And so you gotta be an asshole to pick a trade war with Canada. I'm so sorry. Like, they're like the nicest people on earth. And this trade war isn't just a trade war. It is a trade war we pay for. The tariffs are already costing us about $3,200 a year here in Michigan. And that's before he just left a 50% tariff on Canadian goods. Now, I want you to understand a little economics lesson because we are at the University of Michigan. You know how the tariff works? When you tariff another country, what you're saying is your people have to pay that much more for the things that come from their country. So literally, we are now going to have to pay 50% on top of the cost of the things that we get from Canada. And asking your people to pay for your vanity is not why anybody elected Donald Trump president. And what's worse is that Mike Rogers has never seen a Trump command he did not want to Roger. And so whether it was trying to keep the Gordie Howe Bridge shut down, or it's signing on to these absurd tariffs, either way, he is going to rubber stamp anything that Donald Trump tells him to do. When he was asked about the price of coffee, something a lot of people consume a lot of, I consume way too much of, his answer was like, oh, well, too bad. Price of coffee went up, oh, too bad. His other excuse is that sometimes the shoe pinches sometimes. I'm like, first of all, get some new shoes. Second of all, what? $3,200 is not the shoe pinching. And then there's the issue of our democracy itself. And maybe I'm just sentimental about this because I know that but for the opportunity to be born and raised in this country, my family comes from a place where democracy doesn't work. Yeah. And democracy, we think, is bolted down with nuts and bolts. It's not. It's held together by norms and values. It's something that Congressman Raskin has been working on his entire life. And when you shake it vigorously enough, you really can break it. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. You know, Mike Rogers initially was on the right side of the big lie. Initially, he was willing to call out the fact that Donald Trump was just straight up lying about the 2020 election. But then he realized that maybe he wanted to run for U.S. Senate in a state that's not his, because he's from Florida, and decided that the only way forward was to get Donald Trump's endorsement. So all of a sudden, he became an election denier too, which tells you two things. Number one, it tells you that he is willing to lie to get to power. And number two, that he does not believe in democracy in the first place. And then there's the matter of the 2024 election, which is actually just quite hilarious, because you all know the outcome of the 2024 election here in Michigan. We both elected Alyssa Slotkin and helped to elect Donald Trump in Michigan. You can vote for that. But I want you to think about what that means then. This guy comes out of 2024 saying that actually the election was rigged against him. I'm like, so they rigged it against you, but not Donald Trump? That's what your argument is? He said there's a big old van that delivered a bunch of votes in Detroit, and that's the reason he lost. So, y'all pulled a whole rig, but then Trump won, and you lost. It doesn't make sense. So, all of that is to say that if we're serious about our democracy, we cannot allow people who second-guess the outcomes of democratic elections into public office. That's right. We cannot allow the people who make up stories to make themselves feel better about their egos when they lose into places where they have power over our elections themselves. We have to demand that if you're going to participate in an election, that you abide by the outcome of that election. And we need public servants who are not going to rubber stamp the ego of Donald Trump, whether he is picking a trade war with Canada or he's second-guessing the outcomes of his own elections. So look, we have an alternative in this race. I didn't run for office for power. I didn't run for office because I thought it'd be fun. It is definitely not that. I ran for office because as a doctor, I kept realizing that too many people didn't get the health care that they needed when they needed it, and we had a responsibility to do better. Which is why we are building a campaign to get money out of pocket. More money in your pocket. That's Medicare for all. And with that, I'm going to open up to some questions. Thank you.
Okay, let's take some questions. If you have questions, please raise your hands. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask? Yes, you over here. Hold on, let me walk the mic over to you.
Senator, my name is Mark. I'm from Monroe County. We want you at our Unity Dinner December 3rd.
Inshallah.
Okay, but my question is this, since it's not a gotcha question, okay? How can we pay for Medicare for all? That's a nagging question. I've been asked a lot, and I have 35 years of experience in healthcare financing. So whatever you want to say, I will understand it, okay?
Mark, I really, really love and appreciate your question, because it really gets to the heart of what we're trying to do. Right now, we spend, as you know, 19 cents on the dollar for every dollar in the whole American economy paying for healthcare. Every single one of those dollars comes out of somebody's back pocket, whether it's an employer or an employee, or comes out of the back pocket of our taxpayers. 60% of all the healthcare reimbursement in this country is already paid for by the government through Medicare, which is the program we offer for seniors and people with certain disabilities, or Medicaid, which is a program for low-income Americans, right? So 60% is already paid for by the federal government. So what we're really talking about is the other 4%, or 40%, right? And right now what happens is, let's say you and I assume you're a W-2 employee somewhere. Let's say I was a W-2 employee somewhere, right? W-2 is the normal way you get paid if you have a full-time job, okay? The first one who eats on your W-2 paycheck is FICA. You know who FICA is? Federal Insurance Collections Agency. That is Social Security and Medicare. You know who eats next? Your healthcare insurance company. They take money right off the top, okay? You pay, that's called a premium. Part of the premium is paid by your employer. Part of the premium is paid by you, okay? And then, almost every health plan in the country has what's called a deductible. A deductible is the money you have to pay to get the health insurance you already thought you paid for. And then, even when you've paid the whole deductible, you have what's called a copay. Meaning, you have to pay when somebody else pays. You already know all this, but I just want everybody to get a clear picture of this. And the reason they make you pay a copay is because they say they want you to have skin in the game. But the funny thing about it is when it's called healthcare, when we're talking about paying for healthcare, you literally have skin in the game, okay? It's like actually your skin. And that's how we pay for it now. The problem with it is this: your insurance company gets to take your health care away if you lose your job. That's how it works, right? And even then, they get to dictate what doctor you go to, what hospital you can seek care at, because they've negotiated special rates with special hospitals. And they use those rates to help hospitals buy each other up, and the hospitals use those rates to help insurers buy each other up. And then, on top of all that, we still sustain $225 billion in medical debt because of that deductible. Because most people don't realize that if they actually got catastrophically ill under our current system, the median deductible is $4,500 for the average family of 4. And that's the one that kills you. So if the median income is about $72,000 here in Michigan, a $4,000 deductible is more than a single paycheck to get the health care you already thought you paid for in every single paycheck. So how do we pay for Medicare for all? We would pay for it the same way we pay for Medicare and Social Security. It would come off the top of our paycheck. Now, Medicare for all would be cheaper than the current system. Why? Because the whole system relies on us paying extra money into the system to pay the overhead of the health insurance system. That overhead goes away. No CEOs, no marketing budget, no army of billers that you have to have in order to figure out how to bill for this code or that code or the third code for every insurance. That all goes away. So, from the perspective that I care about, which is our kitchen table budget, right? You're paying less for insurance that's more durable, because you don't lose it if you lose that job, without a premium, a copay, or deductible, and without being told what doctor you can see or you can't see. Now, a lot of people like to ask, well, how many trillions of dollars is it going to be? The better question is this: how many tens of thousands of dollars is it going to be for the average family? It's going to be fewer and for more durable care without having to worry about out-of-pocket costs that put you in debt.
All right, this is going to be our final question. As a preface, if you are a member of the media, please find Colby after this event. Colby's raising his hand back there. And when we clear house, please ensure that media leaves before everyone else, so you may have to stay seated for a little bit. But let's move on to our final question. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask? Okay, yeah, let's go to the back. Stand by. Whoa. Oh, do you want?
Go ahead.
No, you can take it.
All right.
It's on. You're good.
Hello. How are you going to stop the tariffs or reduce the tariffs in Washington? Because I understand what you're saying. It does affect us and other parts of the United States, of course. We all suffer through it as well. How are you going to stop the tariffs or reduce it and help get Washington to work together and do the same thing to stop it?
Great question. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to enforce the Constitution of the United States of America. You know, we already defeated his absurd, ridiculous, illegal, unconstitutional attempt to use the International Economic Emergency Powers Act to impose tariffs. Look, the Constitution says Congress has the power to regulate commerce, both domestically and internationally. Congress has the power to impose taxes. His illegal tariff that he started off with, that comprehensive tariff, was the biggest tax in the history of the United States of America. It was so outrageous that he circumvented Congress and just imposed this tax. Remember, one day it would be 50%, the next day it's 30%, depending on whether or not your country's nice to him or not. That's not how the system works. No president before in American history has ever unilaterally imposed tariffs without congressional authorization to do so. It was so bad that even his own gerrymandered and stacked and packed Supreme Court struck it down. So now he's going back and he's citing other statutes saying it's the basis for this absurd attack on Canada. So the second part, or the second answer to your question, how are we going to stop him? We're going to win back Congress in November. We're going to win robust Democratic majorities in the House and the Senate. We will have the power of the person. We will have the power to stop him from doing it again. But this is why I've been traveling not just down in the South and Florida and Texas and South Carolina and North Carolina. The reason I've been out on the road in the northern states is because the people in the northern states understand how catastrophic these policies are. And I'm meeting people in upstate New York, in the Adirondacks, I'm meeting people in Minnesota, in the Boundary Waters, and lots of people here in Michigan, Upper Peninsula, who are telling us that this Canadian boycott of America, which a lot of people don't even know about further south in the country, this Canadian boycott is punishing small businesses in America for all of the sins of Donald Trump. Canada is not the 51st state of America, okay? Canada is an independent country, and they're going to stand up for themselves, and we don't need any more of Donald Trump's catastrophic, illegal, unconstitutional tariffs.
I love that answer, and I agree with all of it. I also want us to think a little bit about what's the point of a tariff in the first place, right? The only reason you would ever have a tariff is that you want to protect an industry in your own country, right? Because you're saying, listen, if you make something that competes with us, we want to protect our own industry, so we'll tariff so that we're protecting our own industry. You got to pay a little bit more if it comes from outside of the country. There is a logical use of some tariffs. This just ain't it. The only value of these tariffs, as he imposed unilaterally without any approval for Congress, is about his own greed and interest. It is about imposing tariffs against countries he doesn't like, that he wants power over, and then carving out exclusions for corporations he does like. Because you know who was able to skirt all these tariffs? All of the biggest corporations who gave to his campaigns. And so there is a logical use of tariffs, but if you want to do it, you would do it with the logic behind it. But here's the problem. All of the growth industries that we could be investing in, we're not. So if you're going to have a logical tariff policy, invest in some industries, protect them to grow, and then bring the tariffs down. So there is a logical use of tariffs. It's just not this. This is a ham-fisted, chaotic, self-serving use of tariffs for one particular president who made $2 billion off of his role in the top spot of our government. And so we've got to be thinking about how we actually want to build trade policy that benefits union workers, that benefits the creation of jobs in America, that is thoughtful about how we engage with our trading partners, but is not about punishing them simply for a president's own vanity. So they're calling us, and we gotta go. I so appreciate you. I want to highlight one of our incredible partners. Where's Stella?
I'm right here.
Stella,
Oh.
tell us who you are.
Hello.
Stella, who are you?
Oh, yes. Hi, I'm Stella. I am the leader of the College Democrats here at U of M. I love Abdul. That's all I'm going
I
to
love
say.
Stella. But, hey, so for folks who are new on campus, you know where to go. Talk to Stella. We are building a massive organizing effort on campus. They think young people don't vote. Well, the problem is, too often they don't give young people something to vote for. On this campaign, we built this campaign listening to, understanding, empathizing, and empowering young people. Let's show them what happens when you give young people something to vote for. And so if you're excited about this campaign, if you're excited about the opportunity to get money out of politics, put money in our pocket past Medicare for all, if you are excited about spending our money to do smart things here rather than dumb things somewhere else, if you're excited about the idea of taking it to Trump and Trumpism, if you're excited about the idea of an America where you have all of your rights because somebody's not taking them away, we need you out there. So I'm asking you to make sure you talk to Stella, you talk to our organizers before you leave today. Sign up. We need you on campus. I want to see this campus turn out at like 80%. 100%. Listen, I'm just going to say, there are probably at least 20% college Republicans. They don't need to turn out. Actually, they should turn out too. But anyway, all that is to say, let's get the full turnout on campuses like these. I'm so grateful that you came here today. So appreciate you. To all of our partners who helped make this possible, thank you so much.